Cory Aquino and Fidel Ramos administration. The Aquino administration, 1986 to 1992. Maria Corazon Sumulong Cuanco Aquino, born January 25, 1933 and died August 1, 2009, was a Filipino politician who served as the 11th President of the Philippines from 1986 to 1992. Corazon Aquino was married to Senator Benigno Aquino Jr., who was one of the most prominent critics of President Marcos. After the assassination of her husband on August 21, 1983, she emerged as leader of the opposition against the president. She was the most prominent figure of the 1986 People Power Revolution, which ended the two-decade rule of President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. and led to the establishment of the current democratic Fifth Philippine Republic. Political achievements: 1987 Constitution, approved and enacted in February 1987. Crippled presidential power to declare martial law. Proposed the creation of autonomous regions in the Cordillera and Muslim Mindanao. The autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, ARMM, was proposed in 1976 during Ferdinand Marcos administration and created on August 1, 1989 through Republic Act 6734, otherwise known as the Organic Act, in pursuance with a constitutional mandate. On July 15, 1987, President Corazon Aquino issued Executive Order 220, which created the Cordillera Administrative Region. Restoration of the presidential form of government in bicameral Congress. The 1973 Constitution abolished the bicameral Congress and created a unicameral batasang pambansa in a parliamentary system of government. The 1987 Constitution restored the presidential system of government together with a bicameral Congress of the Philippines. Contain articles which include the rights of the people. Created to replace the 1973 Constitution. Restoration of democratic institutions. The 1987 Constitution, adopted during the Aquino administration, re-established a presidential system of government with a bicameral legislature and an independent judiciary. The president is limited to 1 to 6-year term.
Freedom Constitution, Proclamation Number 3. The provided of the carryover of some of the provisions of the 1973 Constitution, not contrary to the ideals of democracy. Provided the abolition of batasang pambansa and the reorganization of the government. Give the right to issue executive orders which would serve as laws while there was no Congress. So national reconciliation to maintain peace and order in the country. President Aquino announced a policy of national reconciliation, asking for the cooperation of the Filipinos, especially to the rebels group. In Manila, Philippines, on March 25, 1986, a month after the People's Power Revolution, President Corazon C. Aquino issued Proclamation Number 3, providing for an orderly transition to the government with a new constitution, probably known as the Freedom Constitution. This provisional constitution adopts the provisions of Article 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, covering national territory, citizenship, Bill of Rights, duties and obligations of citizens, and suffrage of the 1973 Constitution as amended. Article 2, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 are adopted into toto in so long as they are not inconsistent with the provision of this proclamation. The provisions of the 1973 Constitution on the Batasang Pambansa, Article 8, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, Article 9, Amendments, Article 16, the Transitory Provisions, Article 17 and all the amendments thereto are superseded. Under the Freedom Constitution, the President continues to exercise legislative power until the legislature is convened. Under a new constitution, furthermore, the President shall appoint the members of a constitutional commission tasked to draft a new charter truly reflective of the ideals and aspiration of the Filipino people. ARMM, Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Mindanao was very independent part of the Philippines, who refused to be the part of the Philippines. To solve this problem, President Cory gave them a freedom to be singled out from the country and declared it as ARMM. ARMM, or Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, precursors amidst escalating hostilities between government force and the MNLF in the 1970s. President Marcos issued a proclamation forming an autonomous region in the southern Philippines. However, in the plebiscite, the people opted against it and chose to remain in the existing western and central Mindanao regions. So in 1979, Batasang Pambansa number 20 created the Regional Autonomous Government in Western and Center Mindanao regions. So ARMM histories, the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or ARMM, was created a few years after the Aquino administrations initiate dialogues with the Moro National Liberation Front to resolve the Muslim secessionist problem. So ARMM was created in 1989 by virtue of the Organic Act for the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, Republic Act 6734, in a plebiscite. Only 4 provinces out of the several areas proposed to the include in ARMM opted to join the area of autonomy: Maguindanao, Lanao del Sur, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi. PCRG, Presidential Commission on Government Reorganization. Its main function was to streamline bureaucracy. In the process, some government offices were phased out, displacing a number of government employees. So Executive Order number 5 since 1986. So whereas there is a need to effect the necessary and proper changes in the organization and functional structures of the national and local governments, its agency and instrumentalities, including government-owned and controlled corporation and their subsidiaries. Economic achievements. The Aquino government believed that a large portion of the national wealth was taken by the Marcos, and so the PCGG, Presidential Commission of Good Government, was created. CARL, Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law, signed by President Aquino, which implemented the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, or CARP, made an agrarian reform. Through this, the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, CARP, was a land reform law signed by President Aquino on June 10, 1988. CARP aims for a more equitable distribution, and ownership of the land. It means to distribute lands to farmer is a span of 10 years, but was extended by the 11th Congress due to delays in land distribution and lack of the budget allocation. So an act strengthening further to comprehensive agrarian reform program by providing augmentation fund, therefore amending for the purpose section 63 of Republic Act number 6657, otherwise known as the CARP Law of 1988, be it an act by the Senate and the House Representatives of the Philippines in Congress assembled. Section 1, Sec 63 of Republic Act number 6657, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law of 1988, is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 63, funding source, the amount needed to implement this act until the year 2008 shall be funded from the Agrarian Reform Fund. Additional amounts necessary for this purpose are hereby authorized to be appropriate in excess of the initial fund amounting to 50 billion pesos, provided under sections 20 and 21 Executive Number 229. The additional amount hereby authorized to be appropriate shall in no case exceed 15 billion pesos. The source of funding or appropriations shall include the following. A. Proceeds of the sales of the assets privatization trust. B. All receipts from assets recovered and from sales of ill-gotten wealth recovered through the Presidential Commission on Good Government. C. Proceeds of the disposition of the properties of the government in foreign countries for the specific purpose of financial production credits, infrastructures, and other supports services required by this act. D. All income and collections arising from the agrarian reform operations, projects, and programs of CARP implementing agencies. E. Portion of amounts accruing to the Philippines from all the source of official foreign aid, grants, and concessional financing from all countries to be used to the specific purposes of financing product, credits, infrastructures, and other support services required by this act. F. Yearly appropriations of no less than 3 billion pesos from the General Appropriation Act. G. Other government funds not otherwise appropriate. So Section 2, this act shall take effective within 15 days following the completion of this publication in at least 2 newspapers of general circulation. Approved on February 23, 1998.
The social achievement of Cory Aquino. The SWD Department of Social Welfare and Development, formerly called DSSD or MSSD. Objectives are protection and rehabilitation of the mentally and physical disabled, provide complete services for the need, improve inhuman condition. Generics Law. The Generics Law of 1988 was held as a land bank law that could benefit the public but failed miserable due to weak support from doctors, strong lobbying by multinational drugs companies, and the health department's incompetence. The Ramos administration, 1992 and 1998. Fidel Valdez Ramos, born on March 18, 1928, died on July 31, 2022. Popularly known as FBR, and Eddie Ramos was a Filipino general politician who served as the 12th President of the Philippines from 1992 to 1998. He was the only career military officer who reached the rank of five-star General Admiral de Jor. Under Ramos, the Philippines experienced a period of political stability and rapid economic growth and expansion. As a result of his policies and programs designed to foster national reconciliation and unity.
Political achievement. Energy crisis. During the term of Ramos, he requested the Congress to enact a law that would plan and manage the Philippines' energy demands. NAPAS, or National Integrated Protected Areas System. So this was implemented to sustain the environment and to protect or conserve the country's natural resources. Local Government Code. He passed this act to provide a more responsive and accountable local government.
Economic achievements. Foreign investment from travels. Ramos was known as the most traveled Philippine president in recent history. He generated about $20 billion worth of foreign investment to the Philippines. Asian Tiger Cub economy. The country is part of the focus of developing goods for export to highly industrialized nations. Many foreign investors poured money into the country. Social achievements. Philippine Centennial on June 12, 1998, the nation celebrated its centennial year of independence from Spain. One of the major projects of the Commission was the Expo Filipino, a grand showcase of the Philippines' growth as a nation for the last 100 years. Clean and Green Campaign. The program aims to sustain cleanliness, beautification, and sanitation in the city. He approved the adoption of the Integrated National Waste Management System Framework. Peace agreements with MNLE. Ramos was able to secure major peace agreements with Muslim, separate communists, insurgents, and military rebels.